The second set of rules is applied within those black lines, which is what the State of Israel calls Jerusalem. Palestinians in Israel are called Israeli Arabs. Palestinians in Jerusalem are called permanent residents of Jerusalem. They are stateless. They have no nationality. They are there waiting for the State of Israel to evict and remove them. And the State of Israel have been creating a lot of different laws that enable the state to kick Palestinians out of Jerusalem in order to reduce the percentage of Palestinian presence in Jerusalem and then increase the percentage of Jewish-Israeli presence in Jerusalem. They have been successful in that. Like in 1967, East Jerusalem had 100% of its population being Palestinian. Now you're talking about Palestinian population is reduced to around 30% because that's how the State of Israel works. The precondition for democracy is reduction of Palestinian demography. That's how they do it. And if you do anything against that, you will be punished, you'll be intimidated, you will be incarcerated, you'll be subject to any of the typical oppressive measures carried out by Israeli government, courts, police, and army. Third regime is the most complicated Israeli regime, which is applied on Palestinians in the occupied West Bank. There's about 3.3 million Palestinians living in the occupied West Bank. The Israeli governments have been building nearly 193 different Jewish-only colonies inside the occupied West Bank since 1967 until today. They increased the population of Jewish Israelis from zero in 1967 to about 800,000 people today. So in the occupied West Bank, we have 800,000 Jewish Israelis living in the white areas on the map, which are the 193 Jewish-only colonies or settlements, name them whatever you want. Israeli civilians who live in the occupied West Bank, they are subject to Israeli civil law. Palestinians in the occupied West Bank are subject to Israeli military law. The Israeli military have succeeded in robbing families of 30% of the land and property of the West Bank for military purposes alone. The Israeli army used that land for 1 day every 3 months on average. So the point is not that we need your family property for military training, but we need your family property because we want to prevent you and your family from having access to that property. Israeli military rule is applied on Palestinians from the age of 14. We have 1,660 plus military orders. If you break any of them at the age of 14 or above, you will be arrested, you will be sent to court, you will be sentenced, and you will be sent to prison. The State of Israel have more than 500 children serving sentences in Israeli military courts now. There's about 1,600 Palestinians that were arrested by the Israeli army over the past 3 weeks in the occupied West Bank because the Israelis know that there will be, sooner or later, there will be a prisoner exchange. So they are trying to load up as many Palestinian civilians as possible in their prisons in order to use them as bargaining chips. That's in the occupied West Bank. In the occupied West Bank, we have something strange. We have an 87-year-old man living in the city of Ramallah, which is the orange area here, and he is believed to be the president of Palestine. If our president wants to come to visit us in Bethlehem, he has to get on Israeli-controlled roads. Currently, there are about 623 different roadblocks that are installed by the Israeli army throughout the occupied West Bank. The Israeli army managed to separate Palestinians living in the West Bank to become residents within about 230 separate areas throughout the occupied West Bank. It's like turning Palestinian communities inside the West Bank into mini Gaza. It's like cutting them from the rest of the Palestinian communities. Of course, when it comes to home demolitions in the occupied West Bank, we're talking about more than 48,000 homes for Palestinian families that were demolished by the State of Israel even before October 7, 2023.